Gianluigi Donnarumma explains why he joined Manchester City as Pep Guardiola prediction. Made Gianluigi Donnarumma joined Manchester City from PSG earlier this month. Gianluigi Donnarumma has set his sights on winning the Champions League with Manchester City. The 26-year-old had been on the lookout for the right move after his omission from Paris Saint-Germain's Super Cup squad made it clear to him he was no longer their first-choice goalkeeper. Despite links to Manchester United, Donnarumma moved to the Etihad earlier this month for an undisclosed fee, signing a 5-year contract. And speaking in his interview after joining Pep Guardiola's side, Donnarumma revealed lifting the Champions League at City would be a dream come true. He said, "I think the Champions League is the best trophy for a football player. It was an indescribable emotion. We have the game against Napoli, which is a difficult one. However, all games are difficult. Napoli have a strong team. I know them. I have a lot of friends there. However, there are no easy games in the Champions League. We have to think game by game and give it all we've got until the end and give 110%. I hope to get as far as possible in the Champions League. But now we have to think match after match, and then at the end, we will see where we get to." Before he continued, "It is one of our goals. I'm not going to hide it. Lifting the Champions League trophy with City would be a dream for me. It is one of our goals. However, like I said, we have to work calmly and hard, and we have to think game by game, like I said. But together with the coach and the staff, I am convinced we will be able to go far. But now we have to work humbly and think game by game." Donnarumma was City's 7th and final summer signing, taking their total spend to £185.8 million, and he replaces Ederson, who moved to Fenerbahce earlier this month. "I'm very excited," the Italy international said on the move. "I came here with all my family, and this my first day at the club, and my first emotions are that it looks like a real family. Everyone is smiling, and I'm just happy and proud, and I can't wait this new adventure. I'm really proud to be here at one of the best clubs in the world. They have been trying to sign me, so everything's been easier, and I'm very excited to be here. This is a club with a lot of history behind it, and is hungry for victory. I know there is a lot of responsibility, but I'm proud to help the club continue winning together. Playing in the Premier League with Manchester City is a great emotion for me, and I'm ready for this challenge. I've always dreamt about playing in the Premier League, as it's the best league in the world. For a player, I think achieving in the Premier League is the maximum for his career. Therefore, I'm really happy to be here. I'm willing to take to the pitch for this club, who has been trying so much to sign me, and I hope I can pay that trust back." Before he added, "I've always followed it Manchester City with pleasure. I see everything around me, like the training centre and the stadium. They are fantastic. You can't tell what the club values are until you really see it with your own eyes. The buildings and the staff here are fantastic, so I'm proud to be here and happy about the choice I've made, and I hope I will make history here and win as many trophies as possible. That is my goal." Asked about working with Guardiola, Donnarumma admitted, "I think his history speaks for itself. The fact that he wanted me here is a reason to be proud of." Manchester City's Champions League campaign is here. Order your special souvenir edition. Now, Manchester City are looking to bounce back in Europe after a disappointing campaign last time out. Not much went right for Manchester City last season, and that includes their bid to be crowned European champions once again. City fell at the first hurdle after the league phase, losing both legs of their playoff tie with Real Madrid to be dumped out of the competition 6-3 on aggregate. City had started their Champions League campaign in convincing fashion, taking 7 points from their opening 3 outings. However, a 4-1 defeat to Sporting saw the wheels start to come off, and they finished 22nd in the 36-team league table before bowing out at the hands of Real. There was optimism in the air at the Etihad at the start of the season after an influx of new signings, but even that has already started to disappear following 2 defeats in their opening 3 league games. But the Champions League anthem will soon be back at the Etihad, meaning those special European nights are just on the horizon. To celebrate the return of European football, we have produced a Champions League special, which is now on sale on the MEN's online shop. Manchester City versus Manchester United derby will give Hugo Viana a stark reminder of his biggest challenge. The spotlight will be on the 2 managers this weekend, as Manchester City and Manchester United do battle at the Etihad. Here could be a couple of awkward moments in the Etihad director's box this weekend. Ruben Amorim's closest relationship is with the man now Manchester City director of football, while Pep Guardiola is likely to save his warmest greeting for the man he replaced, who returns this weekend. That's not to say that Amorim doesn't have a strong relationship with his Manchester United director of football, Jason Wilcox, or that Guardiola isn't striking up a similar rapport with Viana as he had with Cheeky Begiristain, who will be a guest of the club after ending his 13-year stay this summer. But it does strike at the interesting dynamics and subplots that have built up around this rivalry over the previous 12 months, in which time it feels like an awful lot has happened. In fact, it's been about 11 months since things started to change. That's when City confirmed the appointment of Viana as Begiristain's successor, and when stories started emerging in Portugal that Viana had identified Amorim as Guardiola's replacement. At that point, Guardiola had yet to sign the new contract that he would pen in November, ensuring his stay at the Etihad would go beyond the end of last season and into a 10th and 11th campaign. By then, Amorim was a name that had been crossed off the list of potential replacements anyway. When Guardiola took his City side to Lisbon to face Sporting at the start of November, it was already clear Amorim was going to join him in Manchester rather than replacing him. When the Portuguese team won that Champions League fixture 4-1, United fans were cock-a-hoop. But here we are, less than a year later, and Amorim has one of the worst records of any new manager in Premier League history. The late 3-2 win against Burnley before the international break was just his 8th win in 30 Premier League fixtures. His intransigence over a system that doesn't suit United, and wouldn't have suited City, doesn't lead to any regret at the Etihad. Whatever Viana may feel privately about a head coach he has a strong relationship with. The way Amorim's reputation has been torched at Old Trafford, however, is a reminder of how difficult picking a head coach is. When his Sporting team were ripping City apart last November, he looked like one of the best managers of his generation. Now he is being mocked by Grimsby, who could feasibly have ended up at the club. The daunting prospect of having to replace Guardiola still hangs over the place. That is undoubtedly going to be Viana's biggest challenge, and ultimately, it is what he is judged on.